Hello there, everyone. Welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host, Tim. And today, we will start playing through Stirring Abyss together. There will be some prep here that you can skip by adjusting the slider up here on YouTube to the appropriate segmented spot, in case you don't want to listen to me prattle on about what Stirring Abyss is, how far I got in it, why we're playing it, and any Timisms that I'll be using or doing as we play this game together. Let's get started with that nonsense. The Stirring Abyss is a turn-based strategy game. It reminds me of the new XCOM series a tad, while also reminding me of the old XCOM games a tad. The setting, mostly from Terror of the Deep. The gameplay, mostly like the new XCOM series. We will be leading a force of submariners through a underwater necropolis as they attempt to figure out what has happened to themselves and how they can escape the situation that they find themselves in. We will have to manage resources very carefully, constructing various items to help us get by, while our people level up as we deal with the ever-encroaching corruption occurring down here in the Stirring Abyss. I like how that came out, so I'm going to put a quick cut here. Well, I was going to show the map briefly to show you how far I got in the game, but unfortunately doing so will reveal a little more than I would like to you guys about some of the things which might transpire in the game. So instead, I will summarize by saying I'll be very surprised if I have more than 3 more missions left to complete the game. I've gotten to the very end, but have not yet done what I'm guessing is the final 2 or 3 areas in the game. This game was extraordinarily difficult to start, and I had to learn a few game mechanics and really manage our people's actions carefully. Just like the new XCOM series as well. It's got that wonderful hit percentage where you'll miss several 87% chances to hit in a row and then lose people. That's rather frustrating, but also glorious, which we're going to see as we go forward, because we're going to try to play this game as a roguelike. So no reloading if we lose someone or things start going poorly for us. If that ends up ending our game in failure, so be it. It would be still fun, I think, to play this game together with you guys. We're playing this game together because I've been going through my Steam backlog, and occasionally I find a game that I very much like, and decide that, hey, you know, I would like to record this. And I check online, and not very many other people have played the game, at least not all the way through from what I have seen. This is one of those, and I would like to record this game for my channel. You should know that in this game, you can name people as you wish, but you cannot change what they are. So, for example, if we get a Marine who's a girl, we can't change them from being a Marine or a girl, but we can give them a name. As such, I will record this first video and wait to record any others until I see if any of you guys who might stop by to watch the series want to have a character named after themselves. I will go ahead now and tell you the 3 classes that exist. There are Marines, who generally are good at ranged combat. There are crew members who are good at melee and support. And there are science officers who are good at support. Better at support than the crewmen would be. If you want a character, also let me know how much occult you would like your character to utilize. Either none, or a lot, or somewhere in between. When we level up, we'll get a choice of 2 skills to pick, and sometimes those skills will allow us to take things that might seem like they're magical. So if you want to play a science officer who's not into that, let me know, and I'll try to level your character in such a way. What else is there? I'll be doing all the reading on screen, assuming I can remember to do so. There is some discussion amongst our party members as we go forward. I tend to miss it all the time, as I'm busy reading things or paying attention to the battle map, but I will still attempt to do my best to read everything. I have turned off the tutorial tooltips, so we will not see any of those either. I will do my best in this first video to describe most of the game mechanics to you guys so you see what is going on. I'll do my best to describe why I'm making some of the choices that I am making. And I think that about summarizes everything, guys. So let me go quickly check on my voice, and if everything is coming out well, we'll be back to hit a new game. So give me a few seconds. Okay, everyone. In a rare move, I've actually increased the music volume just a tad. This is like the loudest the music will get here in the main menu. I don't remember it being overwhelming during the gameplay itself, so I think I can risk increasing it, so I've done so. A heads up that there is an intro video which will play when we hit new game, or would normally do so, but I can't get it to play. I don't know why, and I can't get a version of it to splice it into this playlist. I'll give it like 2 or 3 more tries, but if you end up seeing, after I hit new game, select the difficulty and hit start, if we end up just waking up inside a cave, I wasn't able to do it. So, alright, let's go ahead and start us up a new game. And we get to choose between playing either story or endless mode, choosing a difficulty for one of those modes, and we can even check the leaderboards if we want to play endless. Well, I like story mode. I generally like having a beginning and an end to a video series that I upload, preferably one that isn't open-ended, and so we'll be playing story mode. And after failing it a few times within the first, let's say, 5 or 6 scenes for normal difficulty, I think normal difficulty is a very fine, well-tuned difficulty to play the game at. That said, there are a few house rules I will be using when we start this game to make it a little tougher, since I've noticed 1 or 2 things you can take advantage of, which would make the game a little too easy, in my opinion. But anyway, I'm babbling. I'm getting ahead of myself as well. Let's go ahead and start us up a new game.
The coordinates brought us to an uncharted peak. A great mountain rising from the lightless depths, shrouded in mystery. We thought we'd prepared for everything.
This is the USS Salem requesting aid. We have negative rudder control and are taking on water. Our tank mechanisms are unresponsive. Current position is 5-8 tack 5 1 decimal. Oh, God. What is that?
How little we knew. The abyss hides more than ancient ruins and lost history. And our arrival has not gone unnoticed. In deep waters, the smallest ripple can change everything.
How did I get here? Alright everyone, welcome to the game. The intro video played! I tried it like 8 times, guys, and it wouldn't play at all. Then I just gave up and decided I would tell you guys it's not gonna play, and then it does! This game's messing with me. Let's go ahead and describe the various things we see here, since I have disabled the tutorial. Our character is located right here. We have 2 actions that we can take with this character, indicated by these 2 circles you see here. We're currently using our first action on this character, which is why it's blinking. You can see that here on the screen as well. He is glowing bluish with the eye symbol opened on him because he is the active character that I am taking my turn with. Down here, we can wait if I decide I want to end his turn early. We can make a melee attack. We can use a defensive posture. We'll get into that later. And we have a special action called Explosives Expert on this character. If we had items in our inventory, they would show up here. These are all the resources we have acquired so far in our game. So far, none. This brings up the main menu. This will let us end our turn when we are done with it. Then the enemies will take their turn, in a similar fashion to the new XCOM series. With this checked, we will automatically end our turn once all of our characters' actions have been taken. I'll disable that. This is the corruption level. We'll get to see this raise sometime in the future. If we're curious about any of the tutorials and the creatures in the game, we can read about them here. Although the threats are all filled in, that's only because I actually have encountered them in a different game. They would normally be question marks, to my recollection. Any things which occur, what numbers you roll when you make attack, how much damage you do, will be displayed down here in your log. This is our main objective, and we are good to go. I guess I will describe the gameplay here, which normally I wouldn't do, in case any of you decide to pick up this game after watching me play it. We can move by right-clicking on any of these places. There is no undo move, but you can save and reload the game as much as you want. I will be attempting to not do that. Anyway, once you begin moving, you will consume a part of your action point to take the move action. We can move as much as we want and not consume this action fully unless we decide to move into one of these dashed squares up ahead of us. See these? If we enter one of these, this is the game warning us, hey, you move into one of these, that's going to cost you your second action point if you decide to do that. In this game, aside from if you know it's completely safe to move from spot to spot, you are better off moving inch by inch, since unlike the new XCOM series, you don't just get to move once. You can move once you start moving, you can then inch your way forward each individual space. There. Now I have one action point left, but I'm going to go ahead and spend it because I'm pretty sure we're not going to encounter any enemies immediately up ahead. Some more things. Up here, we have a sanity bar, represented by this purple bar here, and our life over here on the right. If our life gets reduced to 0, we are dead. That is the end of that character, and he will be removed from your team. If your sanity gets reduced to 0, it hasn't happened to me in my main game because I've been exceedingly careful, but I believe your character will miss a turn or act out in a way that could be hostile to your other characters. He will have 10 max sanity removed from his character, and then he will have his sanity restored. We also have air in our air tank. We have 21 more turns worth of air. If our air runs out, I'm pretty sure our character dies. things you can interact with, some of them at least, will have question marks of them like this. Let's see what this strange thing is here. Ensign Carlson swears under his breath. A corpse. Of all the caves in the ocean, there's a corpse in this one. That can't be a good omen. Though the uniform is old and the years have taken their toll, it is clear that the deceased sailor was of an extremely high rank. Not a man who would be unceremoniously buried at sea under normal circumstances. Mutiny, perhaps? Or battle? There were no answers here. All Carlson knows is that he would rather avoid suffering whatever gruesome fate claimed the man. Lowering his head in respect for a fellow sailor, he moves on. And we've earned 6 clues. I love the use of clues in a game like this. It reminds me of the old Arkham Asylum board game I used to possess, where you would get clue tokens and need them to do things. Clues will be used to make a handful of items, and mostly used for research. We will get a tech tree that we'll be able to interact with later. You can move. So here, I want to move to the spot that's directly north of Ensign Carlson, and I can't because the game's selecting me. If I hold down Alt, it forces the game to select the ground, and I can use that to move. I think that sack is from the U.S. Salem. I should check it out. Spear gun. Surprisingly, many problems can be solved by 40 inches of steel. Fires a spear gun projectile at the target enemy. Can hit other targets nearby if the projectile misses the intended target. Action points spent beyond the first grant bonus aim. Okay, well, at least we have a weapon now. To my knowledge, the spear gun, or spear gun-like items, ranged weaponry, in particular, ones that fire harpoons, do require an inventory slot to place them. We will get other characters who have dart weaponry, and those do not require an inventory space, nor do you require inventory space to use a diver's knife. An enemy. Whoa, that's a big jellyfish. Maybe I can get around it somehow. We could try to get around it if we so desire, but if you think you can kill the enemies, you should, for reasons we'll see very soon. So, let's go ahead and fire our spear gun. We've already moved a tad, so we'll be using one of our action points to fire this gun, but it will also end our turn. +1 clue. Whenever you kill an enemy, you will gain a clue for doing so. Your character will also earn experience points, which gives me a chance to talk about our character sheet. We can see the statistics that our character possesses here. We'll cover them when we're done with this tutorial map. Our health, sanity, any special traits that he possesses, he has none to start. Any special skills that he possesses, he has explosives expert. When you play this game, aside from the first 3 characters that you get, which will always be I'm going to call him a Marine, a crewman, and a science officer in that order. The skills they get are randomized, as are the stats they possess. And later on, if you're able to rescue other crew members, they are randomized as well, completely. So your second crew member might be a Marine, or it might be a crew member, and they might have different skills, for example. We'll talk more about this later. The corpse here is glowing. hinting that we can interact with it. The broken jellyfish lies deflated at his feet, tiny electric discharges still visible within the pale membrane. Carlson is no expert on these creatures, but he knows they don't use electricity to hunt or defend themselves. An entirely new species of, I can't pronounce that, Scyphozoa? In a different context, this would be a great biological discovery, but right now, it's only putting him on more on edge. You can reload your spear gun. You don't have to worry about running out of spears. To do so, left-click on your spear gun, and then select Reload. It will take 1 action point to reload a spear gun, either putting 1 spear into it, or 2. You can also use this for Overwatch, in which case your character will automatically fire at any enemies that they are able to see who enter the area that you are overwatching on. That looks like a potential friendly or information about what might have killed the rest of our crew. Navigating the gloomy cavern, Ensign Carlson comes to an abrupt stop. A motionless figure lies hunched against the rock wall, clad in one of the expedition's diving suits. He is not alone. Rushing to the side of the fallen comrade, Carlson is relieved to see a small burst of bubbles escaping the exhaust vent of the suit. Out cold, perhaps, but breathing. "This is Ensign Carlson. Can you hear me?" You can only hope the radio transceivers on both suits are still functional. The moment of silence feels immeasurably long until a faint reply echoes inside his helmet. "I'm here. Copy, I mean." It's Petty Officer Marsh, groggy and confused just as he himself was upon coming to. "What's going on? Where am I?" "Not a lot of answers as of yet, Petty Officer," Carlson replies, forcing calmness and confidence into his voice. "Get up and check your gear. We have a lot to do." "So what's the plan? How are we getting out of this one, Ensign?" "First things first. We have to find the USS Salem, and quickly, I can never pronounce it. Yes, sir. No time to waste." Okay, here's Petty Officer Obed Marsh. That's a very interesting name to choose. That might make me think we're not the good guys here. He has a trait, ruthless. Possesses an unnatural knack for hitting where it really hurts, plus 8% to critical strike. And he's got Goon as his special melee ability, which basically incapacitates the target for 1 round, making them like they won't hit you if you hit them with it. Okay, well, let's keep going, I guess. We moved up here just a tad, so we can't actually select a spear gun. Sorry, we can't use it for, like, say, Overwatch. I don't like seeing all these strange skulls down here. That's a bit worrying to me. Let me talk a little bit about enemies in this game. Enemies in this one work a little bit like they do in the new XCOM series, but you can see them. Unlike, I guess you could see them in the first XCOM 2. If you wander into a patrol, they generally will activate and then begin, yeah, like this, there we go. So here's another hostile here. It hasn't seen us yet, but if we shoot at it and we miss, if there are other ones associated with this group, they will all activate and investigate what on earth attacked them. That said, it would still behoove us to do so. Let's take a shot. Okay, I can see here some slight exclamation marks. See those? So there's a hostile there. I'm going to go ahead and use defensive posture. Brace for impact. Take a protective stance, shielding vital organs and vulnerable parts of the diving suit. The living suit? Diving suit. Grants the diver a temporary damage shield. So this gives us 20 phantom health, which must be chewed through first before our character will take any other damage. But it lasts just for one turn. Okay, looks like I wasted it because this thing did not have the action points to move to reach me. I'm going to go ahead and move our Marine here. There is friendly fire, so generally you can fire even through your people, but if you miss this creature, you might hurt one of your own friendlies. And spear guns do a significant amount of damage. So you really don't want to hit, like for example, he could lose 1/3 of his life if we hit him with the spear gun and be killed very quickly by hostiles. Deflated for good. Orbit, I want to take a peek. I don't see anything else here. We are on a time limit, obviously, since we have only a certain amount of oxygen in our tanks. I really like the pressure that you feel you're under in this game. That looks like we're supposed to get out of this cave by clicking it. So we'll do so after we move up and reload our spear gun. It might be best that we stay here and not only move Petty Officer Marsh up in case there's hostiles on the other side of that. So let's end our turn. By the way, there is no Overwatch for melee weapons, only ranged ones. You can't prepare for an enemy to move within your melee range, for example. I'm out. This must be the ocean floor. Anything interesting or useful around? There's some scrap metal here. Should grab it just in case. Oh, there's a light! Just north of me. I think it's the USS Salem. That's what I want to hear. I'm right behind you. That looks like the anchor. Alright, so we'll want to make our way there. We will need things like scrap as we play this game, so let's take this. Picking up scrap, or things off the ground, or interacting with most things which have like exclamation marks, do not consume an action point, to my knowledge. See any hostiles. I'm willing to move up Mr. Marsh a little bit more. Nothing showed up. Good. I think he did a great job on the sound effects for this game. To me, it sounds like we're underwater. See the sparkles, by the way, by this? Copper. Copper's kind of hard to notice. It looks a lot like one of the other terrain features, like seaweed or something growing out of the ground there. Keep your eyes open for copper, especially. It's very useful to get some. Doesn't look like there's any more hostiles, so we'll move directly toward the submarine. I don't see anything over here. Carefully ascending the sturdy anchor, Carlson reaches the airlock contraption at the con. The mechanism opens with ease, just like in training. He can't wait to be inside and shed this damn suit. The conning tower is a mess, with miscellaneous equipment strewn haphazardly all around the small room. First things first, though, the control room. The ensign, kneels next to the hatch and pulls. The heavy steel door gives way with a tortured creak, revealing an almost still surface of dark water. The ship is flooded. Panic rears its head within Carlson. The USS Salem is their only way home, his only hope of seeing his family again, and he can't even pronounce the name of the submarine. If it is too badly damaged to move or even surface, no, focus. The sub is floating, which means there's plenty of air inside it somewhere. All they need to do is pump the water out of the flooded sections and get the equipment in the control room operational. He's not going down without a fight. Alright, we managed to extract him. Let's get Mr. Marsh out of here as well. At the end of a mission, you will get a status report such as this. Any characters which have leveled will have a special symbol over them over here. You get to see all the salvage that you also acquired at the end of the mission and how many enemies you defeated. Okay, we are now on the boat. I'm calling it the boat at the moment. This is like the anthill view in the new XCOM series, only instead of a base in a mountain, we have our submarine, which is flooded with water in various areas. We will need to drain the water in these areas to make them accessible to us. Let's go ahead and start that. To drain the water requires power, and we can see we have 11 out of 25 power up here to do so. When you drain a section of the sub, you will gain resources. The resources that you gain are randomized in so much that we might have gained something different from draining the control room if we were playing this, if I had started up a new game. In this case, I can see that we will recover some scrap metal if we drain this control room. Let's do it. We've earned 5 scrap metal. Control room. Enables the use of the nautical charts to launch new missions. Well, we have to repair this or we can't do anything else. So let's go ahead and repair it. It'll cost us 5 scrap metal and 3 copper. Hope you picked up the copper in the previous mission, by the way, or I don't think you get to repair this and then you have to redo it again. The great machine comes alive slowly, machinery still locked behind flooded sections, responding to the call of the control room. The hum and vibration of the engines brings hope, but not as much as the blinking light on the radio panel. The emergency beacon locator. Tens of driving suits, each fitted with a transmitter, are missing from their storage. Only one signal is active right now, but perhaps the others are just out of range or temporarily disabled. After the difficult repairs and the haunting emptiness they found on the boat, it feels good to have a clear way forward. Much remains to be done aboard the ship. Most functions are completely offline, and the rest is held together by the power of duct tape and positive thinking. To make things more difficult, the wiring manual in the control room maintenance cabinet has escaped its waterproof casing. The old girl's going to need some serious dry dock time when they get home. Okay. Oh, just one more wire and... There we go. The radio array is up and running. We've got a signal. We'll have to move the ship, but it's not far. The old girl can limp that distance, even in this shape. Let's cover one or two more things, however, before we take the ship out on its first mission. Or, I suppose, not its first mission, but the first mission since we've boarded it, since whatever happened to our people. I want to cover the stat lines at the moment, really quick for you guys. As we can see, agility, and look at the lower right-hand corner, it tells you what bonuses that this is granting us. I think 15 is the average stat, and you gain no bonuses nor penalties for having a 15. You receive negatives if your stat is lower than 15, and positives if it's higher. We'll be able to increase stats when we level. I think you improve a single stat 2 points every time you level up, and there are 6 levels to each character. We can also see that level 2, we will have these 2 options available to us. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in the future. We do have some equipment that looks like it was here in the Salem when we arrived. A med kit, some flares, and a shrapnel charge. I guess we should read these really quick. So, a med kit. The essentials for effective first aid in one waterproof package. Heals the target diver and removes a single physical debuff of your choice. Can be used on other divers. Heals 20 through 26, 1 use only, and then it is consumed forever. It will be gone after that. We have flares, a brief glimmer of light in the eternal dark. Throw a flare that illuminates the area around it. Lasts for 6 turns, has 4 charges associated with it. This is a free action, by the way. The medkit is not. This takes 1 action for us to use it. This can be used as much as we want until we're out of charges, and then that's the end of these flares. Shrapnel charge. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most effective. Throw an explosive charge, releasing jagged shrapnel and shredding any targets in the area. 27 through 36 damage. And our petty officer came with morphine. Really takes the edge off for a while. Gives you plus 6 armor, 3 regeneration. You lose 2 agilities, which means that you don't hit as often and can't crit as much. Can be used on other divers. It lasts for 4 turns, so it will heal you 12 hit points total. A free action means that you can use this and you can still have your other actions, any that you did not spend on that turn. I think we'll go out with just this at the moment and hope our luck continues. Let's see where that beacon locator is trying to draw our attention to. Clicking on this brings up the map where you'll be able to select missions. So we can go here next. It's the only one that showed up. But first, we have to assign people to our away team. You can have up to 3 people on your away team, and later on you will be able to unlock the ability to take a 4th. Let's go ahead and assign our 2 people to this mission. Or to the away team. And now, let's travel out here. Expedition Lost, the name of this mission. The signal was coming from somewhere nearby. I don't want to be out here either, but the others need us. Yes, sir. Duty calls. Let's bring him home. Keep an eye out for the wiring manual as well. Without it, we're in a real pickle. Okay, well, let's get started. I guess I should talk a little bit about the missions briefly before we do. To my knowledge, the missions are not they're not procedurally generated maps. I think they're the same maps, but what's in them and where those things are located and what things might be present is randomized. So, with the exception, I think, of these first two missions, which are always the same, we could, in the third mission, because it's going to be a little more random, might meet different enemies in different positions, or might get different amounts of resources, or they might be located in different spots. But the maps, I think, are the same. Alright, well, let's get started. We have something new, by the way, which you guys have probably noticed by now. Since we did manage to get into the sub, we now have some sonar showing us where we are located, along with anything that's in our immediate area. Over here, we can see two other pips. Let's click the question mark here, and show you what those things mean. We need to get to the X. That's our objective. And there's an air vent over in that direction as well. We don't see any hostiles. We don't see any salvage. Let's get started. Dead end over here. You can't... obviously, we're not using like a scuba gear. We're using deep sea suits. So we can't jump over anything here either to make it across one of these chasms. I'm a little nervous about continuing to move forward, but remember that we're on a time limit, so I'm willing to push forward just a tad. Okay, good enough. When firing a ranged weapon, things can get in the way. So you'll need to think about cover. It grants you cover also from enemies that will be using ranged weaponry. We should see, I think, 2 of them, at the very least, in this episode. I see some copper down here. We're going to absolutely want that. For copper, too. Being very kind today, game. Ah! See those shadows? 3 jellyfish are here. Let's stay put. They'll move around a bit. I think I saw something just outside the light. You did, but I didn't see you. We're losing a little bit of accuracy, thanks to the seaweed in our way, but I think it's being countered by the aim, by using 2 action points to fire. Note that this creature also has 7 defense, which is also affecting our ability to hit it. Okay, there's no exclamation mark over this one. There's also another one over here. Oh wow, we're near 2 groups. Let's stay here and end our turn. Oh, okay, it is curious about us. Okay, so they did suspect we were here. That one is not part of the same group and did not activate. Or rather, it did activate. It moved down a little bit, but it didn't attack us. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, let's do our first melee attack here. So we have a diver's knife. Go ahead and swing at it. Thankfully, jellyfish are not known for their great resilience against damage. going to leave him here and not do anything else at the moment. Let's go back to our captain and fire upon this one. Stay down, you freak of evolution. I'll move away from it. Good. It moved a bit more but didn't see us. Let's go ahead and have our submarine help us a bit. There's not much she can do at the moment in the condition that she's in, but there's 3 things that she can do, 2 of which you'll see me use pretty often during a mission, and 1 thing you'll always see me use at a mission at the very end. Up here, we can use the searchlights on our submarine to illuminate an area here on the map. We can also ping the map in order to see where any hostiles might be. Doesn't look like there's any other jellyfish in that area. That's our miserable chance to hit, and we're not going to take it. We will, though, move up our ensign, our crew member, Obid. And we could swing at this creature, but I'm going to instead use defensive posture. There are free strikes in this game, and so if this thing tries to get away, we get a free strike against it. The jellyfish are not that strong at the moment, and so we will likely kill it if we hit. But if we were to miss that attack, we would also have ourselves being pretty vulnerable to its attacks. So we'll move up and defend ourselves and then just wait a turn. I'll also risk doing something very dangerous. And moving up here briefly. Okay, nothing else there. Our defensive posture saves us from all damage to my knowledge of any sort. So even though that was electrical damage, by holding up our fists to block, we blocked that damage. Okay, well let's go ahead and use Goon to show you what this is like. There are 2 ways to fight, the fair way and the right way. Cheap shot. A carefully placed blow at exposed tendons, disorienting the target for a turn and causing them to bleed for 3 turns, dealing damage every turn. Disoriented. A disoriented target will not be able to take a free strike against you, and on its turn, will just move in a random direction. A target can be disoriented for multiple turns, but it tends to only last for 1 turn. This does give me a chance to move up just a tad, and go ahead and show you how an air vent works. All sources of oxygen that you will find in a map, to my knowledge, that are present on the map as a terrain feature can grant you 30 air in normal mode. Clicking on it does not take up an action and restores up to 5 oxygen per click. Once the oxygen is removed from the thing, it does not replenish, so you'll have to keep that in mind. I knew this thing would die because it was bleeding. Uh-oh. Okay. This is a bit awkward because there's another one up here. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that's going to give it cover. But maybe it won't have cover if we move here with our... Oh, soldier. There's another one out here. We have quite a few of these things here. Let's hope we can get lucky with initial stab. I can see some scrap metal back there. We'll want that. But I don't want to get hit by this thing, so I'm going to move away. Facing, to my knowledge, does not matter, by the way. Uh-oh. Well, our captain does not have a good accuracy, so let's move our crew member over here to deal with this jellyfish. The line is red to warn me that the thing will get a free strike against me if I decide to move there. A bit dangerous ending the turn like this. You'll see why, assuming the creature actually can reach us. Okay, it could, but it used both its action points to do so. Let's have our ensign swing again. Glancing. You can crit in this game, and you can also do less damage in this game. So I think glancing means that we barely struck it, and it survived our hit. There's something here. A vital essence. This can heal you if you decide to click on it. Our characters are not wounded at the moment, though, so we're just going to leave it here. To my knowledge, it will not fade. It will remain here for the entire mission. I do want to go up there and get that scrap metal. It's important enough that I am willing to run all the way back up here to do so. I'm also thinking that we likely won't be encountering any more hostiles out here. I'm hoping we don't. I'm willing to do something very dangerous and split the party. That's probably just seaweed. Let's end the turn here. Now, in addition to our searchlight, we have another thing we can do. We can amplify the signal. Beware the red blips. Amplify your sonar for a short period of time to gain valuable information about nearby threats. Lasts for 2 turns. Don't use it at the end of a turn. I do that all the time. Don't you do it, viewer, if you decide to pick up this game. Okay, there's something out there. As we move forward, yeah, it will get closer. There's a few things out here. And I can't see what it is. There's a supply chest here, which I wouldn't mind having. But we're not going to get it this turn. Why don't we set up an overwatch? And see what happens. Meanwhile, our crew member here has no hostiles near him at all. So we can safely run him up. I see some copper. We're going to want that. We're still, we still have the increased, we have an increased threat detection at this moment. What is that? An unknown creature. Notice that the area around it is red. That's a hint as to something that will happen, but I won't shoot it yet. I don't see any hostiles near our crew member here, so we're going to send him up here to search for even more things. There's a supply chest up here. We want that. There was something out here. Another one of these strange creatures. Let's move here and end our turn. Let's shoot one of these. It didn't seem to be angry at us as we passed it. Supply caches. Supply caches generally have different types of things within them. You'll find supplies, which is what we see down there with the fuel, food, and a little bit of medicine. And we found, sometimes you can find items as well. An oxygen tank in this time. Nobody wants to be the one carrying a spare tank, but better safe than sorry. Placing the oxygen tank allows divers to fill their air reserves. If we had transferred to submarine, actually, can we put this back in there? We could. We would immediately send all of this back to the submarine right then and there. I guess we'll go ahead and take this with us, though. I'm going to risk continuing to move up. There's more copper. I'm risking that there's no hostiles up here, and that we'll find them down here only. Which is not a good assumption, probably, because our sonar range wouldn't have picked up any hostiles all the way up here. I forgot to grab that supply chest. We're going to want that. Let's head... Oh... That's good enough. Let's head back and get it. And what is this thing? Splayed open, all that remains of the once bulging pod are the shreds of a thin but tough shell strung between supporting spines. The pressure inside the bizarre coral-like husk must have been immense. A quirk of evolution precisely unknown to science? Or the consequence of some unnatural force? I would say it's probably unnatural and was created as a type of bomb. I see another air vent here, by the way, so we're stopping by here really quick to fill up on oxygen. Bit dangerous to do this. Blowing up the pods, to my knowledge, does not give you any clue tokens or the like. Oh! What the heck is that? Look, I don't care how deep we are, that's definitely not normal. No, it's not. Not at all. 40 health. We can't kill it with a single shot from our spear gun either. We haven't used our explosives expert yet. It will probably kill it. But on the off chance it doesn't, I think we'll just move away at the moment. Chemicals and 1 supplies. Ooh! Oh! They can hit me from there and see me from there. Well, we can't really do much about it. Let's have our petty officer move one away and use his shield. The enemy gets 2 actions and can use both of them to shoot you if it so desires. They're together, so I think it would be perhaps thematic to use Explosive Expert. I've never had this miss, so I'll be curious if it does so. Oh, too far. Well, that's a shame. That's the one I wanted to shoot. It won't kill the other one. That's the end of that one. A bit troubling. I don't really want to use morphine. Let's start by trying to shoot it. And then we can probably, well, not probably, hopefully we get lucky and kill it. We did not get lucky. When you move very close to them, they will use viscous ink, which blinds your character for a time, reducing their chance to hit. But you still get an attack of opportunity if it tries to move out of your melee range, and we got lucky enough to hit with it. The gaunt corpse, unlike anything Marsh has seen before, features common to deep-sea animals mixed with a frame that is far closer to human than he would care to admit. The size of its eyes explains why the strange beast was so averse to the light of their suit lamps. Compared to the near-perfect darkness of its home, their fluorescent bulbs must have seemed like staring into the sun. The arms, weak and decrepit as they are, don't appear to see much use. The simple conclusion is that the spines the creature propelled must be its primary defense, as well as a hunting strategy. The simple clothing also implies the use of advanced tools. Marsh can't help but feel that there's more to these spine skulkers than meets the eye. Well, because he's ruthless, he gets to say something. Should have gotten in my way, Skulky. We're gonna need oxygen with him, and I'm gonna want that vital essence on him to heal him. He is still toxified. Oh, that's interesting. It lowers your movement as well, and takes 4 damage each turn. This may seem rather easy at the moment, but that was actually a tricky battle. There's also a thing that's going to be happening very soon, because I am taking too long to complete this mission. We're timed in more than just oxygen running out. Actually, I do want to explore more, because there could be something more supplies up here. And since I'll be waiting for our crew... Yes, our crew member to come back, we should investigate. Nice! That one healed him to full. Since we're here... 7 scrap metal, an amazing amount of it. And I do want to take a peek up here. I need to check. Alright, nothing else. We can probably skip the oxygen. Let's keep going. Ah, a cave. Well, let's head down it. Also, everyone, I will say that this map feels very different than the last time I was here. So maybe the maps are procedurally generated as well, and I am mistaken by my earlier statement. I do want to investigate down here, though, before we get at... Before we head down into the caves. The corruption level has increased. Every turn you take brings you closer to that corruption level increasing. As the corruption level increases, the types of enemies you fight, and I think the strength of them, increases. So you can't just take your sweet time in these missions, because you have to constantly be worrying about that as well. That said, I do want to check down here briefly. I see no other supplies here. Now, this cave, I think, is exactly the same. There'll be an air vent somewhere out in that direction. There'll be, I think, 2 things with question marks you can interact with. And the suit we're looking to recover. Hopefully with a person inside of it. There'll be hostiles down here, too. So we don't want to go too far. Okay, I'm willing to ping down here. Okay, I actually don't see any hostiles. Oh, there's some. 3 of them. That looks particularly nasty. But we need to move up. Oh, and look at this stuff. What on earth is that? Looks like nerves or something, or veins in the ground. It didn't see us, thankfully. I think there's 2 things together based on the map. I am willing to use our explosives on what looks like some horrific shark mutant. Look at the size of that thing! And those teeth! Let's keep a safe distance if we can. It looks like a predator. Yeah, I'll skip closer inspection until it's not moving no more. We've probably angered all three of the things as well. I would love to be able to kill this, but I do need to worry about being hit by the neurotoxin, so we'll defensive posture here. Okay, good. It had to use 2 action points to reach us. It's got 19 health, though. We won't kill it with a single hit. Oh, or we will kill it with a single hit. All right, well done. +1 clue. The music, by the way, hints as to how much danger you might be in. If you kill a creature and the music changes to combat music, other things are now aware of you and on their way to figure out where you, what you are and where you're located. Something else, by the way, about air and being down here. When you are down to 7 oxygen, you begin to lose sanity every turn. Try to make sure you keep your sanity high, if possible. Oh, we want to investigate that corpse, Tim. Don't forget to do that. But it would make sense that if this person is alive, maybe we send this person to do so. Petty Officer March reaches the unmoving form lying prone on the thin layer of sand covering the bottom of this eerie cavern. He rushes in to check the suit. Thankfully, it appears undamaged and sealed. The facial port is fogged over, concealing the crew member within. An auspicious sign, for the helmet of a deceased diver would carry no pale covering of mist. Marsh is anxious to find out who he has found, but that will have to wait until he can rouse them. He peers into the tenebrous dark beyond. A chill runs down his spine. Petty Officer Marsh hopes that some of the questions that have plagued the survivors will finally be answered. Of course, even just recovering another one of the far too many presumed dead in the incident would be more than he could have dared to hope for. Snapping out of it, Marsh realizes that there is no time to waste. Breathing or not, the incapacitated figure may need medical attention, and his own tank is running lower with every breath. He holds his breath as he shakes the suit gently. Seconds feel like hours until the other diver responds. The petty officer backs off, allowing them to come to terms with their surroundings and situation without risking a potentially dangerous collision. Soon a crackle on the comms channel announces that the unknown crew member has activated their radio. "Where am I? Can anyone hear me?" Obid chokes back tears of relief and activates his comms. "Long story, but I'll say this. It's good to hear your voice, Watson." A glimmer of hope lifts his spirits. Maybe there's hope for them yet. "What happened, Watson? Do you have any idea where you are or how you got here?" "Marsh, is that you?" The voice of the science officer is weak, though she is trying to mask her fear and confusion. Petty Officer Marsh can tell the ordeal has taken its toll. Watson continues. "I don't know if I've got the answers you want. It's all jumbled up. The dreams, Marsh, the dreams. I feel like I've dreamt 1,000 lives, interconnected yet unique, with purpose beyond any I've known in this dreary existence. And now it's all slipping away." Marsh gives her a moment. While the science officer was speaking, he checked the meter on their oxygen tank. Inexplicably, it's completely full. "I don't remember how I got in the suit. The captain was there, walking in front of me, guiding me through the weeds and ruins. We're not alone in that oppressive gloom." Where was I? Shadows lurked at the edge of the lamplight, Marsh. Shapes not of this world. Oh, dear God. Why must the splendor and grace of my dreams fade and this horrid memory remain? She is visibly agitated now, the shaking of her arms clearly noticeable even with the bulk of the suit. Marsh reaches out to grab the shoulder of the science officer, and the contact, remote as it is, appears to bring some relief to his bewildered companion. They let us pass. Onwards we continued, our destination apparently clear to Captain Ashworth, for he strode on with the determination and purpose of a man who knows his path. Without warning, the captain stopped. There were large rocks around us, and a dark yawning chasm in the silt. He turned around then. It was him, but it also wasn't. The loathsome face I saw haunts me still, staring at me with cruel, gleaming eyes. Something moved behind me. The captain must have seen him, but did nothing to stop it or warn me. I tried to pull my knife, but an impossibly strong grip pinned my arms. He just stood there. How could he just stand there? Petty Officer Marsh sits in stunned silence for a moment. Somehow, despite all the unimaginable horrors he has witnessed in these accursed depths, the thought of brave Captain Ashworth abandoning his crew, it is too much. His deliberation complete, Marsh speaks with calm conviction. We have to find him. We have to find the truth. Well, Watson doesn't have the smile and blonde hair I expected her to have. She doesn't quite look like the gremlin I'm used to, but she's pretty cool. This is our science officer. Science officers have darts that they start with. In this case, she's starting with a dissolving dart, which will lower the target's armor, which means that they'll take more damage, depending upon how much armor it had. I guess it can go negative. And a blinding dart, which greatly reduces the target's aim. There's, I think, at least one other dart, a numbing dart, which removes the creature's ability to perform attacks of opportunity. Anyway, I think it would be thematic for her to go over here and check that corpse. We've also completed the mission. It's done, effectively, though there still might be hostiles and things for us to find on the map. Because we've retrieved power. At the end of a mission, when you complete the objectives, your power will increase. It looks like we're currently regenerating 10 power between each mission. At first glance, the anatomy of the fallen brute defies all reason. The head is similar to that of an orca, with a maw of razor-sharp teeth. Smooth and rubbery skin also points towards a mammalian nature. What cruel trick of Darwinian chance resulted in an ambulatory deep-sea creature is beyond her comprehension, but Watson cannot deny that the fiend did indeed walk these desolate depths. The large bony hooks at the end of each arm look dangerous, but unwieldy. How this beast has managed to dress itself in the sparse loincloth is a mystery, as are the logistics of spinning linen underwater. Perhaps this merc fiend, as she resolves to name the creature, is not a product of natural selection at all, but the loathsome result of a more pernicious, oh wow, a more evil process of mutation. We're not wounded, so we don't need the vital essence. And now, we're going to get to the first house rule. This one, though, is going to make the game a little easier for me. I'm going to allow myself one reload per mission. If I miss like 293% chances of hit in a row, man, I know that's XCOM, baby, but I don't want it. I'm going to give myself one reload in the mission. I'm going to save the game right now as well. There's something wrong here. This stuff is not natural. You okay, Carlson? Yeah, or at least I think so. This feels like we should avoid these tendrils. Feels like it's reacting to us. Watching us. This could only be a fishing net, Petty Officer Marsh shrugs. Everything's gotta eat, even antediluvian monsters. Barely audible whispers surround Science Officer Watson as she approaches the primitive shrine. In this moment, she might have had a chance to turn away, but reason and bravado override the instinctive response to flee. A set of red eyes flare open between the horns the moment has passed. She is trapped. Do not fear, the voice whispers. I offer much, and ask for so little. Watson struggles, but it is as if her suit is lined with lead. There is no escape from the red eyes that seem to burrow into her skull. Meet the stare head-on. If we had masochist, opportunist, or charming, we would gain an advantage here, but we have none of these things. If we had lethargic or unstable, we would have a disadvantage, but again, nothing here. What do these mean? Let's find out! Meet the stare head-on. Alright, everyone. There's a mini-game. Oh, God! I have rarely rolled so terribly. There's a mini-game in this game that involves rolling dice. Let's talk about this. We need to get 5 points in order to meet this target number. If we get less than that, we fail, and something bad happens to us. If we get higher than that number, we succeed, and something good happens to us. Good or bad, there might be an event which transpires anyway. I'm actually hoping we fail this so I can reload, then succeed gloriously, and show you guys what the difference is here. We roll these dice. I think one side is a 1. That's what this is. Whenever you roll a 1, you lose a point from any of the other dice that did not roll a 1. This is the bull symbol, and I think this is on 2 sides of our dice. This gives you 1 point. There's also a symbol that has 3 things on it, as you can see here. I think it's 3 of these. That gives you 3 points, and this is a 6. 2 of the sides are empty. After you roll the dice, you can re-roll all of the dice that you rolled, except for any 1s, once. Let's re-roll everything. Holy crap! 2 6s, which is enough that I don't have to reload the game. We passed! I can tell you from experience that I have failed this far more often than I have passed it, and kept the result, thinking that it would be fun to play without reloading, and it is. I probably won't even use the reload, I say, now that I haven't had to use it here. If you fail this, which is to say you don't get the target number, the corruption level increases by 1 rank. But because we passed it, I don't think it will. Anyway, I hope I explained this well enough. The horns of the shrine and the crimson disembodied eyes are joined by bright blue lines that form the shape of a bull's head. The voice returns, but no longer as a whisper. It roils around Science Officer Watson, deep as the ocean, and inexorable as the tides. You have come to a dangerous place. Already you have faced my wayward children, and worse awaits you should you continue. Vestiges of my power still remain. Call to me if you require aid, and I will attempt to twist the fates in your favor. Who are you? Watson demands. What do you want from us? There is no response. The silence of aeons returns, leaving only a tingling at the back of her neck. Someone, or something, is watching. Gained access to invocations. Okay, well, you'll note now that over here we have some new symbols. Let's talk about these really quick. Because we interacted with one of these shrines, well, this shrine, but there will be more of these as we go forward, we gained access to magical powers, effectively. Anyone can use these. They require some of them an action point to use. We have the ability for 2 rounds to absorb the next instance at which we take damage from an external source. I think what that means is that when something actually hits us with an attack, as opposed to, say, neurotoxin damaging you, this will absorb that damage. It lasts for 2 turns, but I think it only absorbs 1 source of damage and then fades. Unnatural Focus, which lasts for 2 turns and gives you plus 20 aim. Void Step. Let's use Void Step now. We can click on it, and then we can be teleported to a different space. The active character is the one who's teleported. Finally, there's Solace of Mind. If you're going to go insane, your sanity has dropped to, is going to drop to 0. You can use this to prevent your character from, at the very least, not attacking a friendly when they do have their episode. To use these also requires an invocation point. We have 5 of these. Once you're out, can't use them again. You get these refreshed at the start of the next mission. By the way, I should save the game because I didn't have to reload, which is incredible. I actually failed it. I got like only 2 points the first time, and I thought it was a guaranteed failure to show you how the game worked. I was a little confused about how the game worked as well. It took me, I think, my 3rd time trying to understand the game. I played through like the first 6 missions multiple times. I finally understood what the game, how the game is played and how it works. So hopefully I did a decent job explaining it to you guys. If not, I'm so sorry. Well, honestly, I'm not expecting any other hostiles, so let's go ahead and move up to this and leave. Enemies tend not to respawn, but there are some types of enemies that can spawn even if you've defeated other things in the mission. We'll talk about them when we see them. Alright. Well, everyone, we're done with the mission. But where on earth is the sub, I hear you asking? Well, no problem. It turns out there's someone in the sub who's going to help us get back to it, because we can go ahead and select Evacuate. Retreat is better than defeat. Set up an evacuation zone to enable divers to return to the USS Salem. Characters cannot evacuate if aggressive enemies are nearby. It costs... So, this is going to be the 2nd house rule that we use. I had to talk about it for a bit. It's best I do this now with you guys, now that we're seeing me use this. Nothing stops you from evacuating from a mission. At least one of these missions, a main story mission. Going back to the submarine, healing yourself, and then going back into the mission again. You would, I think, reappear back where you last evacuated from. I'm not going to do that, though. When we deploy on a mission, we finish it. That's it. We either all drown, all die, or we win. So that's going to be how we're going to play this. This could mean if we lose like 3 people, we got 1 person left on the sub, we've lost. That's game over at that point. But that's what we're going to try. That's what we're going to try. All right, so anyway, nothing stops you from doing it, and it does make the game, I think, a bit easy, but I think the game was designed with that in mind, because you can't easily retreat back to the submarine for reasons we'll see going forward, but I still don't want to do it, so we're going to not do so, or at least that's going to be a house rule I play with, which means we may break it, but I'm hoping we don't have to. Anyway, to retreat, you gotta have an action point, and then you can click on this symbol, and you're gone. This is also how you beat a mission normally, when you have completed all your objectives. Mission successful. No one leveled. We killed 13 things. That's at least 13 clue tokens, plus more from everything we interacted with. And look at all the delicious supplies we earned. 44 total clues. That includes the threats we neutralized. 12 copper, 20 scrap, 2 supplies, and 3 chems from that mission. Oh, actually, people did level, because I see it up here. The tired crew returned from the control room of the USS... I have to listen to it be said a dozen times. To the control room of the submarine, having shed their diving suits. As they descend the ladder, a meek voice calls out from beneath. Welcome back, guys. Standing near the controls is Daniel Croft, one of the ship's cooks. He looks haggard, but alive. He continues. Sorry I didn't speak up sooner. I came to inside one of the damn storage lockers just as you were heading out, and I wasn't myself for a bit there. Oh boy, I had some strange dreams, I tell ya. Croft is clearly still a bit out of it, but it's good to have another member of the expedition back. Alright guys, just tell me what you need done, sir. We've been playing for over an hour, and I'm recording this game at a super high resolution, which means that we might need you out there, Croft. It's all hands on deck. Which means we'll stop here. When we come back, we'll go ahead and level our 2 people. Well, actually, when we come back, this episode will have been uploaded to my YouTube channel. It may be a week or two between this episode and the next one, because I'm still uploading other games. When Vampire the Masquerade Redemption ends is when I'll start uploading this one to the channel. In any case, we'll level our characters that leveled. We have 2 of them that did. We'll go ahead and talk about a few more game mechanics. I'll get to see if any of you want to be a member of the crew. We'll name people. I'll make sure I have a list if that's the case. And we'll keep playing. So I'll see you guys then. Take care, everyone. And thanks for watching.